I think gardening takes people back to the roots. So few people farm yet today. Less than 1% of the U.S. population farms, and to garden is actually a connection. It's the same cut of cloth as agriculture is itself.
A lot of people don't realize that the same things you're doing in your garden, being that it's a pot or being that it's a 10 by 10 garden, you're doing the same thing as farmers do, just on a much smaller scale. You're tilling your garden just like what a farmer would do in the early spring. You are putting down fertilizer in your garden just like a farmer would, and you're sowing your crops just like a farmer would. You deal with the same problems as having bugs, fertilizer, tilling, and so does the farmer. They do it on a much bigger scale.
One of the interesting things, Jeff, is about the ratios. You have nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, and I find that intriguing from a gardening standpoint, because from a farmer, that's a very important factors of what I put out on my soil for growing my corn and my soybeans.
A lot of people don't realize, that is the common 3 elements that make a garden grow well, being a garden, in town or your farm.
I use different seeds for different soil types. I use different seeds for different maturity harvest dates. Yep. And it's the same with you. You can get sweet corn that'll take me, so I can have sweet corn by the 4th of July. I can have sweet corn, and I'll come, August, September, if we have a good year that's not too hot in Mother Nature.
There's hundreds of different possibilities. You come in, like what you said, if you depend on the soil type, I can prescribe really anything to help you or somebody else grow a garden better.
And one of the other similarities I find quickly between gardening and farming is not all fields out on my farm are alike. There's so many different soil types. So some soils are very heavy clays, others are high rich organic soils. Yep. So knowing that, I need to put fertilizer using my prescription of technology, whereas on a smaller scale gardening, I can come to you and you can say, now this soil type will work better with this seed and this fertilizer amendments, and you'll have a equal outcome with a lot less cost.
A lot less cost, and and you kind of hit the nail on the head there, is that you use your technology. We can do soil samples, soil tests here, just like what you would do on your farm.
I know when you plant certain crops one year that we rotate, the following year we'll put that crop at the other end of the field, because there's pest issues that will carry over through the winter if we don't have a cold enough winter, or bug issues. So it's the same way with gardening.
Like with your tomatoes, you're supposed to rotate your tomatoes every year because there's fungus, there's bugs and stuff like that get in your garden, so it's best to rotate it into a different part.
Another fun thing that I find with gardening, it's not unlike farming and the logistics of getting my crop out of the field. In the garden, my wife will put the rows too close together and the kids will trample over the growing plants. And I do the same thing out on the farm, where I have grassed areas where I can come and go, treadways if you will, that allow me not to hurt the crop. And it's the same way with gardening.
That's why it's good to have a map or a diagram of where you're putting everything and how you're going to do it. You can always change it, but it's always better to have an idea what you're doing.
Gardening, the end of the year is never the end of the year. It starts putting product out sometime in July, spreads through August, September, whereas the farm, it's just all ready right now in October, if you will, and November.
A lot of people don't realize is that when you're picking something out of your garden, you can go ahead and plant something else there and maybe have another crop later on. There's a lot of things that grow clear up until the freeze.
And that's the fun part about having a small, what I say, postage-sized garden. It's amazing what the produce will put out for just a small family of 3 or 4 people. As a farmer that has been in the agriculture for over 4 decades, I have great memories of working with my grandparents, my parents, my children, my grandchildren, in not only the garden, but out in the field itself. And so it's just an exciting journey of life.